Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Forgive the kind of quasi-silly intro. We'll get more into that in a couple minutes. The topic of this video is wellness. When it comes to wellness, if you're not familiar with the term, that's looking at the individual when it comes to mind, body, spirit, physical well-being, mental health, spiritual well-being, all of that kind of tied up into one, looking at people holistically. There's a difference between being physically fit and physically healthy. And that's kind of something that wellness, or the concept of wellness, looks into. And I got interested in this as a very serious topic because of 2019. Now, if you're not familiar with law enforcement or the law enforcement as a profession, 2019 was the first year where the number one killer of police officers was, in fact, suicide. We're supposed to go out and answer 911 calls and help the public and save lives. That's what we all signed up to do. But the number one killer of police officers in 2019 were ourselves. And that's something that bears looking at. So forward-thinking departments started forming what they call wellness units. And these units kind of took a look at what are the trends, what's going on, what is happening to police officers around the country where we're taking our own lives. There's been a lot of studies that kind of go out, and some corroborated, none, some not so corroborated. I heard them when I was coming up as a rookie. Stuff like, oh yeah, the average police officer dies 5 years after they retire. Well, there isn't a lot of data to actually support that. In fact, one of the last articles that I was reading was the National Institute of Health from 2013 didn't necessarily correlate the job with early mortality rates. However, it did show in that 2013 study that the average officer passes away at about the age of 57, which is 22 years less than the rest of the general population. Now, anecdotally, if you think about it, that makes sense, not just for police officers, but for other first responders, because you're dealing with shift work, you're dealing with horrible sleep schedules, you're dealing with 20 to 30 years of accumulated stress and accumulated PTSD from all the horrible things that you see responding to 911 calls when you actually see humanity at its worst. So you've got bad sleep, you have bad experiences, and another portion of that has to do not just with relationships, but in terms of overall wellness, physical health. There's a reason why so many cops are, well, a little bit bigger around the midsection than you would think a fit first responder should be. And a lot of that has to do with shift work and the inability to have a proper sleeping schedule. But more importantly, a lot of it is, with anything else, it's garbage in and it's garbage out. What I mean about that, what I mean by that has to do with nutrition and what we choose to eat. I'm in my mid-40s, I'm 45, I turned 46 this year, and I really try to take care of my diet. My metabolism isn't what it used to be when I was in my 30s. I usually spend my Sundays meal prepping, so I've got food together for the week if I'm together, but life gets busy. I'm just one guy, I'm a single dad, I've got a teenager. I work a lot, I work a lot of overtime, I try to work out, I train jujitsu, I shoot, so on and so forth. And sometimes amid vacuuming and house chores, meal prep takes a back seat. So for me, not too bad since I work days, but for a lot of us, especially officers that work night shift, there are not a lot of healthy meal options out there for people. And so at 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, there really isn't much to eat but 7-Eleven hot dogs, fast food, chips, junk, garbage, the type of convenience store food that officers are eating during those shifts. And that is going to contribute to an overall lack of physical health. So for those of you that have been following me for a while, you know I write for a couple different outlets. And I've been approached by several companies over the years asking me to represent them and be a brand influencer or be a marketing affiliate or whatnot. And I always refuse, just because, in my writing, when it comes to the firearms industry or the law enforcement industry side of things, I never wanted to be associated or sponsored by a particular brand, because I was afraid that it was going to mess up the objectivity of my writing or have people look and say, Chris is just a paid shill for this company or for that company. Well, that's kind of changed, especially for this video, and on a trial basis. This is the first time ever in the time that I've been writing or doing videos that I've actually sought out a company, because I saw what they're doing and I believe in what they're doing, and I think that what they're doing is actually an excellent option for my fellow brothers and sisters in law enforcement, especially when it comes to nutrition and especially when it comes to food health. So this video is about a company that I ran into called Megafit Meals. My partner at work, Brian, big muscly dude, I use him for photo shoots sometimes because he's extraordinarily good looking and healthy and fit. He got me turned on to them, and Brian is very conscious about what he puts on his body. He works out 6-7 days a week. He's just somebody I really look up to when it comes to physical health and overall wellness, just in terms of balance as an officer. And he started bringing these Megafit meals in, and so he'd be eating next to me, and I'd smell his food. And I was like, dude, that smells fantastic. What do you have over there? And it was, like cod and steamed vegetables and Angus steak and all these different types of foods every day. And it's like, bro, is that frozen food? I am not a fan of frozen food or microwave dinners. I did not grow up that way. That was not in my family culture growing up, and I always associated that with junk fast food. But this stuff really intrigued me. And the more I started looking at it, I actually ended up buying some and trying some. And these things taste really good. They taste really good, as a matter of fact, whether it be defrosted or microwaved or roasted up in a skillet. And it got to the point where Brian and I were talking. We both said, how amazing would it be if these meals were available for officers that work, third watch, first watch, those graveyard nighttime shifts where healthy food options aren't available to them. We all get busy, we don't meal prep, and so instead of going to the local fast food joint or the local drive-through and just putting in garbage calories into our body, what if we had stuff like these Megafit meals that you could keep at the precinct, throw in your backpack at the beginning of shift, or even better, for these forward-thinking departments that are developing these wellness units, what if the department started buying them and stocked a fridge full of them so the officers that are working graveyard could have healthy food options if they did not bring their own healthy food options home, from home? So the cool thing about Megafit, if you take a look at them, all their meals are broken down, so you know exactly how many grams of protein versus carbs versus fat. I use the Under Armour MyFitness app, and when I input my food to track my calories that I bring in during the day, a lot of the Megafit meals are already in that app as it is. And the crazy thing is about all of this is that it is relatively inexpensive. Now, in the Pacific Northwest, if I go out to eat, I'm spending $10, $12, $14 for a bougie sandwich at the local sandwich maker's shop, right? On average, if you think about $10 to $11 a meal, you're spending a bit of money, right? Well, it's going to be about the same price, if not just a smidge less, with discount codes and coupons and whatnot, or if you buy in bulk with Megafit meals. So I started reaching out to this company and said, hey, I think you guys are really missing the boat, or missing a really important niche in this market, which is the first responder market, for all the reasons that I just mentioned before, and they were willing to give me a shot. So I'm actually going to be representing them for the next month or so, maybe a couple months, depending on how things go. But even if I wasn't, this is something I would actually be pushing, because it's something I actually really believe in. Again, when it comes to the overall concept of wellness and healthy eating, this is a really awesome option. So there's really no excuse in terms of how easy it is, right? You can either take it out of the freezer and put it in the fridge and defrost it overnight and then just microwave it if you're running out of time. The preferred method, the method I like to use, is I'll actually take it out, defrost it, and then put a tiny little, maybe a tablespoon of olive oil into a skillet, and I'll just reheat everything up in the skillet. And the food is actually freaking good, which is pretty incredible if you think about it. I'll be talking about Megafit meals quite a bit over the next few weeks. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Megafit Meals was kind enough to actually give me a promo code for you guys. It is a CTRAN10. If you guys use that, they'll give you 10% off on your first order. Again, check them out, megafitmeals.com. I'm a big fan of them, a big proponent of them. I think they're doing absolutely the right thing. And hopefully, for my fellow law enforcement first responder officers out there, you guys are going to take a look at this and see this is a very viable option. The only thing you really can control is yourself when that comes to your sleep, how you treat your family, how you treat your friends, and how you treat yourself. So be well out there in 2020, especially now with everything that's going on with COVID-19. You really owe it to yourself and everybody else to take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Personal nutrition is just one of those things. So check out megafitmeals.com, guys. Thank you again so much for tuning in. We'll be talking a lot more about the concepts of wellness. Hopefully you can read a couple of my articles on the mental and the spiritual side of things. I'll let you guys know when those articles drop. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you guys soon.